All right, and we are live. So, first of all, I want to say hello and welcome to everybody on the team. Hope everybody is doing well. Um, Hope everybody's been productive. And if you haven't, hopefully this tonight's call will help. Um, so, just to give a little bit of backstory on the topic that we're going to talk about tonight
Me
is
santifico a favor de ellos,
oh, what was
para que
that?
ellos también sean
Is knowing
santificados
the
mediante la
value.
verdad.
Give me 1 second here.
No ser parte del mundo. Como Jesús,
Let's
tengo que ser neutral en mi forma de
get this
pensar
working here.
y de actuar.
There we go. All right. So we're going to talk about knowing the value of what you have in your Young Living business and helping you to further understand why, um, if whether you're just getting started or you've been around for a long time, why what you have in Young Living is so beneficial, even from a financial standpoint, um, and help to build a little bit more belief in what you have because we understand that having this business and being a part of Young Living has something for everybody. Um, but if you are like Dana and I and a lot of people on this call, and you are pursuing this as a way to supplement some income, make a little extra money, um, then this information is going to be for you tonight. So Dana and I have been following this guy who's a pretty well-known network marketer, but he is also a avid financial planner. His name is Brian Bean. Um, if you would like to look at his YouTube, Google him. The guy is hilarious, but he knows his stuff, especially when it comes to finances, and he knows his stuff when it comes to network marketing. And I like how he was able to kind of marry the two topics to help people to better understand the value of what they have just by purchasing a premium starter kit. So what you have at your disposal. So Dana's got some notes, but before she shares those, I just really want to quickly talk about why it's so beneficial to have a Young Living business and like why you need to have one. Um, and I'll start with something that was kind of new to me is there are many people, especially those on the call, myself included, who work a 9 to 5 job. And there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5 job, but it is not designed for you to necessarily be well off or to be any better off than where you are now. It's specifically designed that way. And so, one thing that Brian mentions in one of his videos is something that we all have to deal with. There's two things that we all have to deal with. Number one being inflation, and number two being taxes. Those are the two things that we cannot escape is inflation and taxes. And did you know that inflation happens every single day? Sometimes we think it happens over the course of years, but the price of things are going up every single day. Gas is a good example. How maybe 2 months ago we were paying, like on average here in Michigan, about $2.15 a gallon. I filled up today at $2.63 a gallon. Oh, I'm sorry. So it's real that we see inflation there. The food that we buy, whether we go to the grocery store or we're eating out, those costs have gone up. It is mentioned that on average, inflation rates, there's an annual inflation rate of the cost of goods and services of 4% every year. So if you work a job and they give you, say, an annual raise, um, typically what I've seen usually over the years is anywhere from 2 to 3%. That's less than the 4% inflation rate. So now you're losing money. And let's say you're getting 4%, now you're just breaking even. So your job was never designed for you to help you get ahead. It's more designed to potentially facilitate where you are now. Um, so that was big for me. And then the other thing he mentioned was taxes. We all have to pay taxes. Whether we agree with having to pay taxes or not, we all have to pay taxes. And the interesting thing about how we're taxed is different than if you own a business. So if you work a job, usually you are taxed somewhere between 28 and 34% off the top, and then you live off the rest throughout the year. And then come tax season, the time that we're in now, the government either refunds you what they overpaid you or they give you credits given certain situations, which is why people get tax refunds. But the interesting thing about overpaying your taxes, most Americans, because they overpay their taxes, then have to borrow money to pay for other things throughout the year. So if you think about the average person that might get maybe a tax return anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000 for the year, um, think about what you could do with that extra money throughout the year, especially if you did not have to borrow it from a financial institution that now charges you interest to use it. Um, that completely changes people's lives. Being able to have that extra income to be able to utilize throughout the year. So having a business, which every single Young Living member has available to them, automatically, if you utilize some of the tax benefits that the government gets, can get you about an extra $6,500 a year back in your pocket in potential tax savings.
I just wanted to add
Right.
before you move on to another thought, because I did think it was interesting too. Another thing that he had brought out, he was like, essentially, what the government does is they come to you and they're like, hey, can we borrow some of your money? Right? We're going to take that money, we're going to hold on to it, and then we're going to withhold the interest and then pay you back a portion of what we borrowed from you. Right? So essentially, that's what when we get tax refunds, what it is.
Interest-free loan.
Right. And when you think about even what the government says, they're like, hey, so when you get a tax refund, a good idea would be to save this, right? Because we're going to do the whole cycle again next year, right? So even on this tax return, it actually encourages people to save their money, because they're like, yeah, we're going to tax it and we're going to take more away from it.
I'd just like to add for a second. So I actually have, a very good job. Everyone knows I work for General Motors, and my raises usually are about 3%. Like, they're never, and I had actually heard before that sometimes inflation is 5% every year. So if I get a 3% raise and inflation is between 4 and 5% every year, if I didn't do something different, I would be behind. Now, I've switched jobs like 4 times in the past 8 years, and I've doubled my income by doing that, and I've escaped that. But what I didn't know would happen is that now that I'm at like the level underneath the manager at General Motors, I'm in a completely different tax bracket. So one of the things that I do just out of curiosity is I put in all my information of everything that I have just to see what I would owe before I do my deductions. I would have owed, so like I got my last promotion probably 2.5 years ago, and it was an 11% raise for me. And if I didn't have a business, I would have owed the government about $9,000, which means that I would have only got like 1% of that raise, because I went into a new tax bracket, and now I got to pay that to the government because I went into a new tax bracket. Then I put in all my deductions from having my home-based business, and now the federal government owes me $4,600 and the state of Michigan owes me $1,600. So that is the power of having a home-based business, because when I go on vacation, I just went on vacation to Chicago to beauty school, and I relaxed, I got pampered, I learned, and it was all tax deductible.
Mm-hmm. So Tashina, you brought out a good point. One thing with inflation, at some point it's going to catch up to you. You might be able to outrun it for a certain period of time, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. So it is interesting to note that having a home-based business, and the way that taxes work here in the United States is the tax breaks are actually given to the business owners, because they feel like they are able to generate the flow of the economy. They are able to generate jobs, and help sustain the economy. So on average, the average business owner usually pays 18 to 20% tax rate, as opposed to paying that 28 to 32%. So the reason I bring all that up as we get into the meat of the call is to understand that everybody needs to have some way to outrun inflation and taxes, and Young Living is the vehicle to do that. And when you understand the value of what you have available to you, as Dana's going to talk a little bit about, it will really change your outlook on your business and how you approach people with it. So let's get into that a little bit. Dana's got some notes that she took from Brian Bean's video, and then I'll kind of add some more to it as we go along. So go ahead.
Okay, I also wanted to just add to that too, is when you look at like people like athletes, or you look at like movie stars and things like that, they, while for them, they might not have home-based businesses, what they do so as to, again, get above the curve is they might start foundations, right? So that they can have something to write off their taxes. They might buy up homes, right? And they might flip houses and sell houses, right? So they have real estate. So they have something, again, that they can foundationally give back. So for the middle class, the best thing that we have is home-based businesses, right? Because we might not have enough funds to have these ginormous foundations and things like that. So that is how, again, we can get above that tax or taxation when we think about that. So a few things that I wanted to bring out. I loved one of his videos, and when he was saying, like, even if you have not already, make sure that you have a copy of the income disclosure statement, because it's a beautiful thing to know what the potential that you can make in this company is. Because one thing that he brought up is we got to realize what we have. So if we are working like a traditional job, and let's say we're making $20 an hour, we don't go after people. If let's say we worked at a car dealership or something like that, like the person that comes in, they're looking for a car, we work with them, right? But we don't chase people to try to sell cars, right? Like, we're looking for the people that are looking to buy a car. So in the same way, when we think about Young Living and we think about business, we have to remember we're looking for the people that are looking for this. And if you value what you have, we don't waste our time. So what he said was, talking to a no, you just cost me $450 an hour, right? So again, when we take those percentages of the potential of the income that we can make, you want to thank your no's. When you were, he gave the illustration of the guy.
Okay. So you want me to give this one?
Yeah.
Okay, it's probably. So Brian gave the illustration of as a single male, and because there's predominantly women on the call, maybe you can attest to being on the other side. But as a single male, like if we walked up to a woman and asked her to dance, women might politely say, no, thank you. And then as men, we say, okay, no problem. And we step right to her friend or the next person down. Hey, would you like to dance? Oh, no, thank you. Oh, okay, no problem. We step down to the next person and we continue to ask until we find somebody who wants to dance. And so he gave this illustration because he's like, a lot of times what we do, because we don't understand the value of knowing that we're worth way more than we put out there, we'll sit there and try to present more skills to convince people to get up and dance. So he got to dancing on stage. He was like, but don't you see my moves? What you mean you don't want to dance with me? Don't you see my skills? Did you not see? He's doing the soft shoe across the stage. It's hilarious. But that's true. We sometimes do that. What do you mean no? Like that, when you told me no, that just means I need to convince you harder. I need to work on my skills. And he was saying no, because if you view yourself from the standpoint of I'm worth $450 an hour, you're costing me money I can't afford, and time that I cannot afford to spend with you. So he was like, the other one was like, he had a guy that said there was a girl that he met at work who was interested in the business that he had or the product that he was presenting. And she wrote down her number and gave him accidentally the wrong number. And so the guy goes, well, I know where she works. So I'm going to go up there and correct it. I'm going to go up there and talk to her in person. And Brian's like, no, she wrote down 555, no, thank you. So if she wrote that down, don't waste your time going up to the job, trying to harass her or show her more skills or show the individual more skills so you can convince them that they need what you have.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So don't try to rationalize the prospect's behavior. You're in business, so you again want to make sure that your time is valuable, and they understand that your time is valuable. Because the reality is, if we look desperate, then that's what we're going to get back, right? Again, we're looking for the people that are looking for wellness solutions. We're looking for people that are trying to change their position, maybe financially or whatnot. So again, we want to look at the potential of what we have, and master personal growth. Become something today you were not yesterday. You are where you are today because of the decisions you made yesterday. So you will be where you're going to be tomorrow because of what you did today. So the only thing that matters is what you do today. So I really like this point too, because he's like, it does not matter if you have not succeeded in this business yet, right? So it doesn't matter what happened last year or 2 years from now. It's really essentially what and where you start off right today. And the reality is, we think about like other businesses or not businesses, but schooling and things like that. People will go to school for 4 to 12 years, sometimes up to 16 years. They'll come out of college and they're making $30,000 a year, right? Not to mention all the debt that they've now accumulated. So your business does not begin when you state, hey, I'm doing the business. Your business starts the day you start doing it correctly, right? So there's certain aspects and certain things that we know that in order to have a successful business, you have to be signing up people, right? You have to be, however your classes look, whether it's online, whether it's in person, whether it's big events, small events, you have to be booking those consecutively. The more and more we hear these diamonds and how they got to diamond and what they're doing, I mean, these people on a regular are holding 5 to 6 classes a week, right? So again, maybe our circumstances doesn't allot for that, but your business starts the day you start doing it correctly, not the day that you, oh, I've been in it for 10 years. Well, you might have been in it 10 years, but you haven't been growing your business for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. And just really quickly, if I can chime in on that. So understanding like the low overhead that you have with a Young Living business, like it literally costs less than $200 to start. And to get paid on your commissions, you need to spend $100 at least. So it costs you $100 to operate your business. Oh, but there's a perk to that. It's not that you're just giving Young Living $100. You're getting $100 worth of product that you can use for you and your family. So it's costing, what is it really costing you to run your business? Very, very little, if anything at all, right? So sometimes we'll shortchange what we have for the traditional plan, which is, you know, and go to school, get in debt, come out making $30,000 a year. And the funny thing is, I see that quite often. Now, that's not to say that we're anti-school, but I've been to school twice outside of high school. Dana's been to school at least once. And somehow this is where we still landed. So understanding the value of what you have is kind of, it's a big deal. If what you've been doing for the past 4 to 6 years hasn't been working, maybe it's time to switch it up and not quit early. We will give college and vocational schools 4 to 6 years of our time, but what would happen if you invested that in your business instead? And then now you come out without the mounds of debt.
And so just to add to that, this business is not for you. This business is for the person you are becoming, right? So in this business, the work you are doing now is going to manifest in 90 days. And you always have to keep remembering that. Because I think the other thing that a lot of people do is they start and they stop and they start and they stop and they start and they stop. And unfortunately, what happens with that is you've never gotten the momentum to actually be successful. So what you do today is going to show up on your check in 90 days. So that means the next 3 months, you need to hustle, right? You need to be working and you need to be moving so that then you will be to the next level or be to the next place that you want to be. It is not a traditional job. You don't work, get a check, work, get a check, work, get a check, right? because again, that's going to, like we mentioned, going to put you behind. So the momentum that you get, you have to run and do it as a business, so then you can see the results in that 90 days. Again, so you're building for your future. When you become the person you need to become, your paycheck will reflect that. So you are looking for outside sources to make you whole. I'm sorry, if you're looking for outside sources to make you whole, stop seeking outside motivation. So that was another big thing, because a lot of times we're like, I go to Shannon Hudson's and woo, like I'm on fire. I'm gonna build this business. I'm just gonna rock it. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. We go to convention and we're like, yes, I can be diamond. I can do this, right? You watch all of these amazing speakers and you're like, I got this. I know exactly what I'm gonna do. And then soon as we have that outside motivation gone, we can't book a class, right? Or we don't wake up to call back that person that said they were interested. Or we see a post with a sick kid and we don't reach out to them. So we have to have within ourselves something that triggers for us to have that it be ignited, an internal motivation. It is so crucial that you are in tune with yourself to know what that's going to look like. So if you are super crystal clear on your why do you want to do a business, right? Why is this going to change my family? Why are these products going to change my family? If you get deep into your why, that should be something that honestly you have with you on a daily basis. So whether you write that on a note card and carry that around with you so that you can constantly look at it. Because let's say you're at the grocery store and you just look at your card. This is my goal. This is where I'm going. When you go into that grocery store, you're going to start looking for opportunities to bless other people and help them. Because the reality is, a lot of times the people that are hungering for what we have are right in front of us. They might not be the ones in your household. They might be the Kroger clerk that you see every single day that has a sick son at home that needs what you have. So we have to look for those opportunities and we have to be ready for them. And if we keep our goals and we keep our whys in front of us, it's going to move and motivate us to take action and have that internal drive to do it.
Can I add something to that?
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about not necessarily just having the motivation come from outside, but when you realize that you have something that other people are looking for, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to carry yourself that way. There's a reason, and this was totally like a different thought for me, but there's a reason why in network marketing, they usually have you start with your warm market. That's your family and friends. And it's not necessarily because they're going to be the ones that help you build a successful business. You might get fortunate and get that, but usually it's because when you first start, you're going to be really bad. You're going to be bad at closing. You're going to be bad at hosting classes and presenting. And that's okay because it's your family and friends. But really, you're trying to establish the means to do your business so that you can go out and help as many people as possible. So that means you're going to be meeting new people or be in business with people you haven't met yet. And so it's really about training those skills, but also realizing how valuable you are. There are people that work their secular 9-to-5 and hold the fact of their hourly rate as some sort of status and say, well, I make $100 an hour. And they carry themselves around like that. Chest puffed out, head back, neck tilted up. So what you have is worth way more than that. But sometimes we don't carry ourselves like that. We walk around, I got these oils. I think they might help you. We're not confident. So when you view your business and view what you have as being better than the guy who's walking around saying, I make $100 an hour, yay me, you should carry yourself in that way.
Mm-hmm. And so to add to that, when you change who you are, the environment adapts to you. So if you are a positive person, people are going to be just speaking to you. Like that happens to me all the time. I was just grocery shopping today, and all I do is I smile and I say hello to everyone. Like half the people say nothing back, but the others, like, they're like, I'm great. Somebody actually looked at me in the face and looked at my eyes and let's talk. And then of course, if you're wearing your oils, it's like, what's that amazing smell? Well, it's lavender, and that's what makes me so happy all the time. That's why I talk to everyone, right? So you have those opportunities because you're going to attract your vibe. If you're like, all I have is negative people in my life, and all I have is people that complain to me, it's probably because you do the same thing, right? Because if every time, like, honestly, when people complain to me, like even my kids, like the first thing I'm like, so what positive thing can you glean from this situation? You know, they hurt their toe. Well, at least you didn't hurt your hand. You can still use your hands, right? So whatever it is, like when you have positive, when you have confidence, that is what's going to come all around you. Those are the people that are going to be attracted to you. Those are the people that are going to be magnetized to you. So if you are motivation, you will maintain motivation. So it's not coming from an outside source. So I love Mel Robbins when she's like, motivation is garbage. You're never going to feel like it. Your circumstances is never going to change. You're never going to have more time. You're always going to be broke. Okay. Or you're always going to be, have no time. So just do it anyways. Okay. Just do it anyways. The other last thing that I wanted to talk about is be in total control of your emotions. Do you let other people control you? If you are not in control of your thoughts and emotions, someone else is. Okay. So if every single time your family members are telling, oh, you doing that oil thing again still, right? And then you feel a certain way, and then you start shying and you start, well, nobody ever comes to my parties, or, oh, well, you have to be confident in what you're doing, and you have to stay resilient despite what's going on around you. Don't let them control your emotions, because at the end of the day, they don't pay your bills, right? And so you know what you have, you value what you have. So act like it.
And I just want to add a little bit to that, because I'm a huge numbers person. And so I'm sitting here, I picked up the income disclosure statement, and I just wanted to run the numbers to average out what you could potentially allude to making as a Royal Crown Diamond. So most Royal Crown Diamonds probably don't work 40 hours a week. Some of them do, most don't. But their average monthly income is $144,551. So I did the math, and if they were to work a 40-hour work week, they were getting paid $903 an hour. That's huge. Do you know anyone who makes $903 an hour? Because besides those who work in Young Living, I don't. So to me, understanding that value, like, makes me feel like, oh, like, okay, today, this is my goal. People work for years and save for retirement to live off of a portion of their income that couldn't fight inflation and taxes in the first place. So whether you're older or younger, you still to some extent probably want to prepare for the future. And so this is a great way to do that, to build income. And I really quickly, before we finish up, I love that Brian emphasized something about us being indecisive, and understanding the fact that when we're indecisive and we're slow to make a decision, it costs you money every single day. So when we're talking about, remember we talked about tax savings, he gave the illustration, it's like taking a $20 bill and throwing it away every single day. Because from the moments when we're indecisive and we say, oh, I need to think about it, or, oh, I'm going to need to go home and pray about that, I'm going to have to get my schedule together, I'll start next month. So 30 days go by, throwing $20 a day out the window. You're losing money. It's like having not a slow drip, it's like having a hole in the bottom of your financial bucket. So that for me was like, not like brand new, but that was a real eye opener. for those who know me personally, I don't like to just throw money away. And I'm sure there's probably a few people on the call who are like that as well. So take full advantage of what you have, because what you have is valuable. Like, the products are great, the people are great. Young Living has something for everybody, but the value of having a Young Living business for you and your family, even financially, is astronomical. So yeah, that's what we wanted to share. We like to keep it short and sweet. So I saw some comments in the chat. Did anybody have anything that they wanted to add on that topic while I go back and look at some of the comments?
I mean, some of the stuff that we wrote were like super, super long and a little bit unnecessary. But one of the things that I did put in there, like on the lines of what, Dana was stating, that people who get a high source of income learn very quickly that they should have multiple streams of income and businesses to filter that through, whether it's a foundation. And like, I just learned in the last 2 months, and I put in the chat, that like Shaq owns 19 different businesses. And Rick Ross owns 17 wing stops because he said he loved wings. And so why not have a franchise? And that's things that they traditionally do. And so again, we don't have a rapper's income or a basketball star's income in order to buy a franchise for $200,000. But we do have an online franchise, and we do have the opportunity to build up to that level. So that was just interesting because I had only learned that like in the past couple months through somebody sharing on LinkedIn or sharing on Facebook. And then as hokey as it sounds, or as unnatural as it sounds, having your goals written out and looking at them on a daily basis helps. It really does. I have a reminder that pops up in my calendar at 7 a.m. and it describes the type of person that I want to be and some of my skills. And then I have some stuff written down on a book. And then I always, before I leave my car, put on joy and abundance. Like, no matter where I'm going, I always put on joy and abundance. And I might not do all three of those things every single day, but I'm at least going to do one of those things. And it does help you focus, like it, and you don't have to prospect everybody. Like Dana said, they will come to you. They will come to you without a doubt. Like, I went to Pilates class on Friday and the teacher was like, oh, somebody smells like a Veda. And I was like, oh, that's me. And nothing else happened with that. And then Friday night, we had our class at Bigby. And the girl saw that I had my little label and she started asking me all questions. She left with samples. I got her phone number and she got a text message. I went out to eat last night and I just put on some oils before I went in there. And the girl was like, oh my goodness, you smell amazing. What is that? And I was like, essential oils. She's like, oh my goodness, my kids have ADHD. I need that. Gave her a packet of samples, got her email address, and she put her phone number in the wrong spot. And I tried to text her. She's like, oh, it's not working. She was like, I'll text you. And she texted me this morning. Like, if we continue to put this in our head and if we're available to share everywhere, the people that are supposed to be with you will find you. Like, it's very true. But we have to put ourselves in that mindset and the position to do that.
And I'll add, I realize that tonight's call, we're heavily talking about the financial aspect of it. And let's say maybe you're not a money motivated person. I mean, you still should have a plan in order to fight those two things, inflation and taxes. But I love that Young Living offers something for everybody. Like, when we talk about value, like, Young Living has a huge value when it comes into health and wellness products, or if you are getting involved because you want friendships and relationships, that is there as well. So there literally is something for everyone, regardless of what your goal is. So in all honesty, like, that's, to me, speaks volumes.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just add too, so my note card that I carry around, so my goal is, and what it says is, I am a silver leader, inspiring others to wellness and financial freedom. And just a few weeks ago, I actually spoke with Terry from corporate. He did a Zoom with me and my husband. And one thing that he mentioned is you need to start looking for business builders. And that was something for me that it's like, I still barely consider myself a business builder. So I'm like, that doesn't even, I don't get it. Right. But I was like, I'm going to set intention though. I'm not going to be afraid to, at least, because what he told me, he was like, although you're not where you want to be, there are people in your downline. There are people you know that would love to have an executive check. They would love to have an extra 500 to 700 that you're getting each month or whatever it is. So he's like, so even if that is all that you're putting in front of people, you at least can show somebody how to do that. And so it's interesting because I've noticed even within the last 2 weeks, how many more people, I literally have said nothing different, but they're like, so can you tell me more about how I could actually make money with this? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, no, you just want to know how lavender works, right? like, because it's just not on my radar. But when you set certain intentions and you move towards those, I don't know how, but they just come, like they fall out the sky.
But you said something that should resonate with people. That is an extra $500 to $700 or whatever it is that you're bringing in. So I'm sure, like I mentioned, most people still work a day job. There are people that pick up second jobs to make an extra $500 to $700 a month. The problem with that is you're limited still by time. There's still only 24 hours within a day. There's still only 7 days within a week. So your income is capped because you can only work so many hours a day. Having something like Young Living generating income, an extra $5,000, $7,000, $2,000 a month or more is extra on top of what you're already making, but it also leverages your time and it is not capped by the hours that you work. So that's huge. Go ahead, Carrie. You got your hand raised? See if we can unmute her. Or are those praise hands?
That's a good one. Is it working now?
Yep, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, how long did I have my hand up? I don't even remember. Oh, yeah, but I was going to say is, like I put that post up today about I went to my first and a year ago, and that was before I really even knew what that thing is tonight. So this all just ties in really well that, get the focus and just start doing it. But I really liked something that Dana said that, it's the long haul. You can't start and stop. What we're doing now is the payoffs in 90 days. And so that just really helped me get my focus back. So focus back, never had it. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to try to look up all this stuff you guys have written out because it really, really, really helps. So anyway, nothing profound to say. Just that, how it tied in really well with my post today. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, his content is very, very good. His name is Brian Beane, Beane. So if you want to look,
I just remember Mr. Bean.
If you want to look up some of his videos, his content is very, like, he even has content on how to get out of debt because 76% of Americans are in debt, which is funny because sometimes when I talk to people, that's usually why they start making money so they can pay off some extra debt. But he's also got some financial education on there as well. But Brian's just, he's magnificent. Like, seriously.
Yeah, my husband has a very strict no debt policy. So my trick is to buy all the oils I want and not get into debt.
Yeah. That's that too. Johnny Pearl, you got your hand up.
Yeah, so I was just trying to make sure that I had the right page. Is this the guy right here?
Yep. That is him.
Okay.
That is him. He'll make you laugh along the way too. He's pretty funny.
And I like that he has some nice short videos, because sometimes you're like, man, I can't sit here for like an hour.
Actually, the content that we had tonight was based off of a 4-minute video. So, yeah, his information is concise. He's also got some webinars on there as well. So I encourage everybody to check them out. Okay. So let's move on to events. For those who would like to promote events and activity that they have coming up within the week, now would be the time to do so. I'm going to pull up my calendar and see what we have. Which, by the way, Friday's class at Big B, was a huge success. So that went really well. If you guys have people in the Dearborn area, I want to promote this now. April 12th will be the next one, down at Big B Coffee in Dearborn Heights off of Ford Road. So I do want to promote that now. Do we know what the topic was for that one already?
You said self-care.
Self-care. I did name that one. Yeah. All right. I'm looking to see what we have.
So I can go through the events because the whole team together is working really hard, and there's like tons just this week. And so I actually copied and pasted from the Google Doc into the little chat right there because it'd be easier for me to read them off, because there's actually just tons this week, and a lot of them are online, so they're available for everyone. So this Tuesday, March 19th, we're having at 8:30 p.m. a Facebook class, Healthy Home, so it's just all about thieves. So if you have current members that are zeros, if you have prospects that are just gonna love thieves, it's available to everyone to invite. And then on Thursday, March 21st at Huron Valley Pools and Fitness, Marlene is doing a gut health class. And because it's in that location, the cost for that class is $5. So for people that are in the Highland Milford area, that's a class available for them. What now?
Do you know what time that starts?
7 to 8. 7 to 8.
Thank you.
And then Friday, March 22nd at the Big B in Heartland from 7 to 8 is an in-person Detox Your Home with Thieves class that Karen and Marlene are doing. And then Saturday, March 23rd in the morning is an online Zoom class on finding joy. So it's really cool because we're like, a lot of us are doing some of the same classes. Some of them are online, some of them are in person, some of them are in different areas. So that's kind of the class that we had at Big B. So for those that aren't in Michigan, they can get some of that information about finding joy. And then Tuesday, March 26th at 8:30, I'm going to do the Thieves class in Spanish for all of the bilingual people out there. And then Saturday, March 30th is when we have our Hello Spring Breathe Easy class in Clawson, Michigan at the Salt and Sugar Company. So there is a Google Doc that has all of these classes on. We actually have classes on there going through May already on there. We always are making sure we have at least one Facebook class. We're always making sure we have one class in Spanish. Marlene is always making sure that she's going to have a Zoom class. So we're doing everything that we can to make sure that no matter where you are on this team, you have a couple classes to plug into, invite your 50 people. Then the rest of your time, go out and do your 15 one-on-ones or your own 2 classes and keep it moving.
Okay. All right. So a lot of events coming up. Really, really good. Does anyone have anything that they would want to promote in their area before we close the call out?
Connie Pearl asks, which Big B is the one on Ford Road?
Yeah, Ford Road is just east of Beach Daily. And we'll have the address posted in this way.
I'll make an invite tonight.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and close the call out then. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out to spend with us on every Sunday evening, same time, same location. So we look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. And until then, everybody take care.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye, Jonas.
My name is Jonas.